There was one time where I brought the cops home at 1 a.m., but other than that...
Welcome back, or should I say, welcome for the first time to the new set of the Unhappy Hour. S.AD presents the Unhappy Hour, and we're taking it back to our roots today. So, first episode in the new studio, and also bringing back our first guest who didn't get a video because it fucked out on the first time. So, I'd like to introduce my very dear friend, Lenny Ropers. Come on out, champ. Woo woo!
Were you thinking of a name there? There we go. Let's go.
What was I thinking of a name?
Yeah, you were like, how am I gonna announce him?
Yeah, well, usually, like I would do like some like I don't know bullshit bit or something at the beginning. But I kind of feel like they know you. You know, you're a regular. You're a regular now.
This officially. Is my bar. This is where I drink.
That is kind of that's good. If everyone that comes back is like becomes a regular. Yeah, we're talking about like what we could do to fix up the wall. We'll talk about that a bit later though, because like we'll do some stuff with it, but also like the construction process and whatnot. But yeah, I just want to check in on you, champ. How have you been? How have you been?
Busy.
You've been busy?
Busy working.
Generally.
Yeah.
Hey, you're not drinking right now as well. That's also a thing.
I set up
hustle culture, eh?
Yeah, basically.
Basically.
I set up in the beginning of the year that I have 2 months where I don't drink.
What was like the reason behind that? Like
because I did sober October last year, and I realized that I saved the most money in that month. I was the most productive, and I just felt better all around.
Fuck, I feel like everyone says that as well. But I tried fucking sober 2 years. Didn't say shit. You think that it's better if you only do it once every now and again rather than fucking doing it more consistently?
Yeah, and it's better because you have something to look forward to. So it's
that makes
fun.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you're like, and then you look back on that month, you're like, oh my god, I saved this and that much, and then you're like, drink a little bit, and you wake up again, you feel terrible, and you're like, and then overall you cut it down anyways. It's
kind of like what Alex almost talks about, like in seasons, almost. Yeah, like that does make sense. Like focusing for a set period maybe like makes you more inclined to like.
Yeah, because really it's quite annoying. I would love to have a really lovely cocktail now and get pretty drunk. But
well, I wouldn't say a lovely cocktail. I'm having a vodka lemon lime bitters. It's like pretty basic.
If I was drinking,
then we would have done something. Yeah,
that's
true.
What I mean,
we would have done whiskey sours. I think
it
was actually
old fashioned or like a Manhattan.
We've done the old fashioned already. But as I was saying I'd mentioned this to you already, but I was thinking that like we'll do like a special cocktail for each episode until I've built the bar up. And you may think, isn't the bar built up? But no, it's not even close to finished. And once it's all built up, then we'll start doing like requests for the guests and whatnot. And then like we, come back from the break and shit, and it'll be like a new cocktail. I think that's like kind of what I want it to be eventually. But right now, I'm just trying to like get as many spirits up there as I can. As you
Looks great. That was a dream for a long time.
Yeah.
So
well, it's interesting, like the mentality actually, it's just like, if you break it down to small pieces and you only buy like one bottle a week and you're consistent, which just seems so stupid when I'm talking about building a bar, but like it does grow quickly, like obviously I bought more than one in some weeks because I've only done, this is what the 9th episode, but yeah, I'm pretty stoked, to be honest. Like just one cocktail a week, and then now all of a sudden we have like pretty much a bar.
Yeah.
Like we're only missing really rum, I think.
And you're only in like what, episode 7 or something that you've.
This is episode
at least.
Yeah, well, I mean, when they watch this, it will be episode 9. So we don't. This is all live, basically. Yeah. So. There's no delay. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been living here.
What do you think of the new place?
I love it, to be honest. There was like a lot of like when I first moved here, there was some calling when I first saw it. I was like, obviously there's something like drew me to it that I was like, I have to fucking live here. Yeah. But I definitely did have some skepticism. Like there's no functional kitchen. Like the bathroom is like good, but also like there's like some things about it. Like the shower is like double as big as it needs to be, and then there's like no vanity space and there's like no plugs in there and shit. So, but it's still good. I'm still like, I think all in all I'm happy, and obviously with this little piece of construction behind us.
Yeah, which we built.
Yeah, which we built, which is pretty fucking crazy, to be honest.
Have to make it look pretty.
Maybe we should talk about that now, because
Yeah,
like I feel
why
like
not?
we fucking, yeah, we might as well. So yeah, literally like this, what didn't exist. This is like a full studio apartment, right? So behind here is like my bed and shit. But I was trying to like make this like usable for a set. So, and if you had my bed in the background of every shot, I feel like it would probably like break the third wall of it being a bar. It very quickly just becomes, why does Adam have a bar in his bedroom?
Which is also not that
Which is
bad.
also like
I don't
how
know,
I've
considering.
well, it's how I've lived for a long time, but it's just maybe not what I want to project to the public. So I think that the wall was necessary, and also breaking up the space, of course. Like it's too much. It's too much space if you're lying in bed and you just see, like, especially with the 3-meter ceilings. You know what I mean? It is too much.
But it would sort of be cool. You would sleep in the set.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I kind of feel quite connected to it right now,
yeah.
obviously. Yeah. Like, I don't feel like I'm that far away from this. Because I'm not. Because I'm not.
Knock from behind.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm really excited about the future of this place, to be honest. And I feel like almost in a weird sense, I'm getting like a future deja vu moment. Like, even earlier today when we had a few of our friends over.
What do you mean by future deja vu?
Like
you already know it's gonna be something you look back on?
Yeah, how do I describe it? It's I see the potential in this podcast and like what I'm doing so much that I think looking back, I'm going to remember this moment and it's going to be like, holy shit, that was the beginning of everything. And I'm having that moment now, so I feel like in the future it will feel like deja vu, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's kind of crazy, but
that's a cool way of thinking about it.
Yeah. It is interesting. I feel maybe that is like, I mean, future me's come back into my body. So how would that work? And I don't even know how that would work. But anyways, I digress. I'm stoked to be here. To be here. And I think that we should move into a very special part of the show.
Yeah.
Depressing questions. Bum, bum, bum. Depressing questions. So, Len.
Ready to get depressed.
The first time... Well, don't say that. No one's not ready to get depressed. Depressed from the beginning. Coming on this show the first time, we didn't have set segments, and now how we've grown in the 9 episodes of our existence, which is... I actually think that there's some statistics on that. I think that if you do more than 3 episodes, you're in the top 49% of podcasts, and most of them stop. So
if you reach to 21, it's top 1%.
Top 1%. That's fucking crazy, and we're definitely going to get there for sure.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that in my mind. Not many people invest in a studio.
No,
episode 8 with no audience.
Yeah, that would be very sad. You buy all this and you're like, actually, I don't feel it.
It just wasn't
I
me.
don't really get it. Like, what? You don't want to talk to your friends?
No, actually, to be fair, that is maybe a good segue, though, because I think that one of the depressing questions we had was going from working as like not working as, but like you chose your business that you started with as being like beat production, and you sort of now have like moved into something different, which I'll let you talk about because I think it's probably better coming from you. But it's just a crazy transition in how quick things can change in life. And I think that maybe it's interesting to hear your perspective on that.
It's weird. For me, it felt like it was a long time in between. But yeah, so I made beats, and I started with that in lockdown because I don't know, I was bored, so I was trying new things. And I was like, oh, this sounds cool. And it was a lot of fun at the beginning. And then I was just sitting there every day, like trying to make them better and better. And then I figured, hey, why not try sell these and make some money? You know, because I'm already locked down in a room in a little tuna can. So
well, we were locked down in a room.
So might as well try and have some fun and make money with it. Because for me, it was always like a goal. I don't really want to work for someone. I would rather have either my own business or something that's like really fun to do. Like, let's say if someone hires me to do something where every day I go and I'm like, hell yeah, which at that time, that was music for me and making beats. And then I tried to make that into a business over a year, and it did grow a bit, but then it just turned to the point where the fun turned into work.
Do you think you still you still obviously love music as well? I think it's just when you try and commercialize it from a passion, it's hard, right?
Yeah. because it was at a point where it was like, okay, now I'm having a normal job, so I'm doing 8 hours there a day because I gotta pay the bill somehow, and then I come home and I do music, and I have to, realistically, I would have to make 1 beat a day, and I wasn't that fast at it, so it would be like, you know, maybe if I was really fast, like 2 hours plus with uploading and everything, and I wasn't that fast. It was like 4 hours. And then you're doing 12-hour like days without commute to my other job. So yeah, it was a lot of like pressure, I guess. And then
how do you think other people do it? Do you think they just like that's their full-time thing and they just live at home or whatever? Or?
I think most people fail, and the 5% is just really, really, really in love. And I think I was, but then I just didn't want it enough. And I think I was looking for, because it wasn't like 100% me. Like I like music, but I had to teach myself everything. Like it wasn't like, oh yeah, I already know how to play the guitar and the piano and the
just
flute,
felt
or whatever, you know. Like I had to learn everything, so it took way more time, which was at the beginning the fun part, but then that slows it down. Like someone who can play the piano is just like, oh yeah, I have this melody in my head, I play it in, done. For me, it was like, you know, clicking in, like, okay, this sounds good, this works. Yeah.
So a lot more like it felt like you were breaking it down every time. Yeah, to the rudimentary. That makes sense. Yeah. And also I feel like it would be remiss not to mention that I think your outlook on life is a little bit different to like the like crazy hustle culture person. Like you value more of a balanced life, I would say.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that maybe if you didn't have that natural music talent, you could potentially get through that by not enjoying your work possibly and like making it your whole life, but that's not the way you choose to live, and I think that's a really valid like way, you know.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. I admire that as well, wanting that balance, and I feel like you have sort of almost got that in a lot of aspects. Like you've got a stable relationship and like good friend group, and like that's kind of
talking about you.
Friend groups. But you know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I think you have got a really good, like, work-life balance. Like, you never let work take over your life.
No, it's interesting to look back, I guess, because, I mean, for me, I always knew I didn't want to be in an office job where I am right now, which is why I'm continuously always trying to...
We should talk about that as well, but...
Yeah, always trying to work, like, away from it, like, to do my own thing so I can, you know, make my own time and work for me, not for someone else.
Yeah.
And what was the point for that? I forgot the point on that. Balance. And I totally lost the point.
But I mean, yeah, I think maybe it's even interesting just to know how you got into that. Like from my perspective, because I know you went to uni and you studied.
Yeah.
And there was like more. It was more complicated than just like I feel like I want to study this. It was I need to study this to stay in the country partially, and
yeah, that was a pretty hard part about it, because I always knew I didn't want to go to uni. I was like the guy where all my friends in Germany were like, oh, when are you going to study this and that? And I was like, I am not going to uni. I think it's stupid. And then
which we agree on so much.
I still think that. But then I was at that point where, okay, so either I go to uni now or I'm leaving the country and all my friends. And then I was like, well, cool, maybe it's worth it. And then my parents were also really nice, and they were like, hey, we can pay for this.
I also, probably just good to give context on that as well. Lenny, obviously, if you didn't watch the first episode or if you don't know him, he came from Germany at, what was it, the age of 15?
16
16
and then like 17, so let's say 17.
16, 17, and then he's been here obviously the whole time since then. But he was in like a homestay program originally, which is how we actually crazily kind of know him. I think maybe that's also interesting to talk about as well. And there's so many good like segues from what you're talking. They do all interconnect. I'm trying to think of like the best like storyline for it, but maybe we kind of do have to touch on that now, because I think it's probably good to have context. So I think that you should talk about how we first met, for starters, and like we reached out to you right before you even came to the country.
Yeah, that was weird. That was really weird. So I was in Germany and I was looking at places where to go, and I found New Zealand. And I was all right, lock that in, and then some agency found my homestay family basically, and it was Ant who was second guest, I think.
Yeah, second guess career boo if you check that out. Yeah, that's a good one.
And then that like over like a week or whatever, they got locked in as my host family. And then a day later, so way before I was even going to the country, I think it was a month before I was meant to be there, I got like these Facebook friend requests from like 5 different dudes. I'm like, who are these guys? And then I sort of saw the name and I was like, okay, they're all connected with, and like Ant Mitchelson, that makes sense.
But does it make sense?
Now it makes sense. But back then,
knowing us now, it makes sense.
It was a bit weird, but I also thought, hey, that's amazing. Like I already have quote unquote friends, or at least someone that I know they want to get to know me. Yeah. Because there's also like that part where you're afraid of going somewhere totally new, not knowing anyone, and then just being alone. That's true.
I
don't want that. So
that's true.
Yeah, it's good to like have that. At least these people want to meet me. If I don't like them, guess then I can move from there or whatever. But
and from the flip side of that, I feel like you're so lucky that you got fucking Ant's house because we were all living there basically. Well, not living there literally,
staying
but like we would go there after school every day. And like that's how it all came about. Like that was like the spot where our group would hang out. So when knowing you were coming, you were going to be a part of that spot. It was like a no-brainer that we had to reach out to you, because if you're a shit cunt, then that would have been really terrible.
Well, it happened with other homestays where we didn't really interact much.
Yeah, well, that is interesting as well, because you had a lot of homestay experiences even when you came.
I meant at Ant's place, because there was other homestays than just me, and we didn't we didn't really interact that much with them. I think it still has to click, I guess.
100%.
Although I feel like you probably didn't send her Facebook invitations before.
But she was also not in our year as well.
Yeah.
So there was like multiple like reasons. Like, knowing that you were gonna be in some of our classes, and then also be living with our friend. It'd be super weird knowing someone from like your home, like your I don't even know what it's called, but your tutor period or whatever. Yeah. That was just like 2 doors down. Yeah. There's like 10 of us hanging out upstairs. It'd be super whack if we didn't get along, Yeah.
Terrible. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a funny time. And then I moved to a different homestay. So after that half a year, because I was only meant to be in New Zealand for half a year, I really wanted to come back. So I magically made that happen. And
magically?
Well, there was a lot of pleading with my parents, basically.
And I think that may be interesting as well to mention, I maybe don't want to get into that stuff, but like just how like the reason you came back originally was because of Alan, right? Yeah. And like the reason why you convinced them was because that was their whole story.
Yeah, that was, So my parents, when they were young, they met in Croatia. I think they were like 17 or something. And then they fell in love, and they wanted to, stay together then. And then my parents had to convince their parents that one of them would move down. And then my parents felt, well, it's a bit...
Be boxed into a...
Yeah. and obviously they're still together. Like, they're reaching, 40 years or something.
Which is crazy statistics for your family. Like, it's, common in your family as well.
Yeah, it is. All of the people, other than my cousin, everyone has dated one partner and stayed together.
That is crazy to me.
Yeah, me and my cousin are very close because of that.
You definitely need to date more than one person. If anyone's watching this, you need to date more than one person. I think there's a very small chance you meet the one on the first try.
Yeah, I want to ask my dad and my mom about that, actually, because it's interesting to...
It's fascinating.
Yeah, because for me, that's crazy to not... imagine you're dating someone for that long, and then would you never think, what else is out there, I guess, right? Because, you meet when you're 16, 17. You're a totally different person than you are in 5 years.
I even know people that have been in, their first relationship and it's been going really successfully, but you can't shake that feeling if it's your first time with that, say even if you take sex out of it, first relationship, first person, there's no way that you can compare it to anything. And in society, you're just bombarded with other people's relationships. How can you be so confident on the first go? It just doesn't make sense to me.
You just can't. I guess. Or maybe it is just like that. You just know.
Maybe that's true, because we're both talking from.
But it's interesting because I thought I knew, and then it didn't work out. So
interesting.
It's all I don't know. Well, yeah.
Do you believe in no? Or do you believe there's one person for you? Do you believe there's
no.
multiple people that could could be good, but they're,
Definitely.
you know, okay.
I definitely think there would be several people out there where it would work.
Yeah,
I mean, there's like,
but the chance of
people out there, like,
the chance of meeting those people
Yeah,
is
yeah,
also
that's
super
slim.
low. I think
Yeah.
that's like the crazy thing for me. If you meet anyone that works, you should fucking hold on and not be like, oh, there maybe is 2 other people in there, like, and out of the 8 billion, you know, like.
yeah, but that's the hard part, right? Because then
Yeah.
you also come to the point where you're like, you could continue that cycle over and over and be like, there's always someone better, but like, you know,
Yeah.
that's
That's true.
at some point, so it's sort of hard to, you know.
Yeah, I think it really does come down to who you meet though as well. Because like for
Yeah.
me personally, I don't know, like what that would feel like, or whether I've already experienced it relative to how other people feel. You know, it's super hard to articulate or even like understand.
Yeah, or measure, because you can't measure.
Yeah, because you know my parents are super happy and they've been together for a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything close to what that would feel like, or maybe I do, and that's even more terrifying to me. But
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing to ponder for sure. Anyways, get back into the so that you leveraged that and you see.
I went way across again, didn't I?
Well, if we jump, I think we should jump back to the original track line.
The homestay.
Yeah, of how you convinced them to come back.
Yep.
And then, so then the homestay.
Yeah, I convinced them to come back, and then my host mom, then Annabelle, she was like, "Oh, I know the neighbors really well, and they're looking for one, or not really well, but I know the neighbors are looking for one. Why don't you move in there?" And then I moved in there, which was awesome for her to set that up. To be fair, because otherwise the process would have been way longer. And then I guess those people there didn't really match with my values. They were like heavily Christian, for example. And
They were whack, man. Like,
not because they're Christian, just to clarify that.
No, not because they're Christian. Yeah, and
I have no issue.
but there's like I don't know if you want to talk about it too much.
Yeah, sure.
But
So there was like times, for example, we'll be sitting at a dinner table.
yeah.
And they're like, we started at the dinner table. They would make food for all of us. Like it was the two, like they were a couple together, the one other homestay and me. And then usually the other homestay sometimes wasn't even home because she was older. So most of the time actually was us three just there. And then there was also a couch that would fit exactly 2 people. So we would start eating, and then they were like, after like 2 minutes or whatever, they were like, all right, okay. And then move to the couch, turn the TV on, and I would just be sitting there alone, like, you know, eating for myself because I couldn't even like sit on the couch with them. So I was like, and then I'm like, well, do I sit on the ground next to them? It's also sort of like, I don't know, like, so that was a bit weird. It was like, well, it was just like a heavy feeling of like, okay, you are just doing this for the money, which, you know, is fine, I guess. But like, because I had it so good before, where like
It just feels transactional, right? Like I've always thought that the whole homestay program was like sponsored by the school for the purpose of you partially as well for the homestay feeling integrated into the culture and like part of the. I think that was where if the homestay parents had kids as well, it was a great thing because they already had to go through that to some extent.
Yeah.
But that is.
But they didn't have any kids, so maybe that's also part of it. They just,
But it was strange though, like basically just treating you as like a, I don't know, like a tenant almost. Like
yeah, but worse because treating me like a tenant, but they still gave me rules like I was their kid. So it was like, because like, you know, like
because they're still responsible for you in a way.
Which, you know, makes sense. But then it was also awkward because then I turned 18, and they still gave me rules, and then I was like, okay. This isn't working out. Like, you know, like, I'm legally an adult, but school said you can't live alone.
I remember
annoying.
vividly not being a fan of those guys at all.
Yeah, same.
but interesting.
Then I moved again. Also.
Yeah, I did. I like those people. I thought they were fine, but I think
which ones? After that?
Yeah, I only met them one or 2 times or whatever.
Yeah, no, the family after that was pretty nice. Yeah, they had twin brothers that were 10 years old, both of them, obviously, because they're twins.
Yeah.
And they were lovely, just like very energetic, and I was basically filling up the older brother role.
How did you feel about that? Was it kind of interesting?
It was fun, but took out a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit. It was funny because they would wake up very early, and I was the room under the living room, and they would like make jokes about like jumping on the ceiling, be like, Lenny, wake up, and I was there like, oh no,
please no, yeah. Please. And this is when you had a girlfriend as well. That must have been not ideal, yeah.
No, at least they were better, like with having the girlfriend over or whatever, because because the ones before were like, nah, no girl coming over. If so, door must be fully open, and
just so weird rules for like a 17. I don't know, man. It seems strange to me, but
it's all how it's their household. It's fine. But
I get it, but also if I was if I was doing that, if I was like having kids stay with me that were like of that age, like I feel like you can't really, you can either be their full, like try and pretend to be like their parent, which I feel like is what the third people did, or you can have it as like a set like rules or whatever, and you're your own person. But if you do that, you can't then also enforce like the, you know, because if you were 18, you know, it's just like, you can't do that shit. Like,
it's a slippery slope.
It's weird. I don't know.
I don't think it's easy on them either.
I also feel like you were also like a pretty good, like, you were definitely strong-minded. That's for sure.
What do you mean strong-minded?
Oh, you've always been strong-minded. Would you not agree?
Oh, give me an example. What do you mean by strong-minded?
I've like you have like you hold strong opinions and like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
For like, even if you take the case in point of like, I'm 18, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. But I feel like what you wanted to do is not unreasonable. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. But like, you would definitely not be afraid to tell them that.
Oh no, I did tell them. Yeah. That's when it ended, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, there was one other time with the ones that I didn't like that much, where they were gone for 2 days, so I was looking after myself basically, and they hadn't really bought any food. But as a homestay, you pay for the food, so like, you pay like your expenses, and that includes the food. And then I was just eating like all the bananas and everything I could find, and then they came back and they were got angry at me, and I was like, well, what do you know? And then they said I ate too much, and you know, I was a skinny boy. Like, like imagine Will. Then you'd be like, okay, you eat 5 steaks a day.
You look at Len pre-gym, and you'll understand.
Yeah, like skinny, like really skinny.
It's hard now because you've got like you're starting to get a little bulky, dog. You know,
trying.
Hopefully the angles are better at the studio.
Yeah, maybe.
Honestly, everyone was saying from the Will podcast that I just looked so small. Which I do understand.
Well, he is a large man.
Yeah, he is a large. I get it, but like I also.
You just did that to make your guests look better.
Yeah, of course. That's why. That's why. 100%. You know, we're all about the guests on the show, and if anyone wants to come on the show, please hit me up. If you know me and you want to come on, please do. But anyways, I digress.
Yeah, should we go next question then, right?
So yeah, also like you were living with this the third homestay person, but then also the fourth homestay person was actually my family, which I think is kind of interesting. So you went from Ant, from our friend group, sort of circled around like good, better, bad, better, and then kind of back to our friend group, interestingly, did a full circle. So what was it like living with my family?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good. Yeah. I mean, I had like the whole downstairs area to myself.
Which is pretty mean.
And I paid less rent than you, which I thought was funny.
That was fucked up.
Coming from Germany.
That was fucked up, Mom, if you're watching this. And we both know you're not. Just want that out there.
They were like coming from Germany, where it's like totally different values. Like the majority of parents wouldn't charge their kids rent under, like, maybe if you're 25 or something, but like until the point where they want you out, and that's definitely not when you're 18.
That was very apparent from my
yeah, it was funny, and then it was really.
But I can't really say that now because, like, you know, I've been back and whatnot.
Well, now again, so there you go.
Yeah, exactly. They did charge me rent.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, but other than that, it was really good. It was easy flowing. You guys gave me space. There was one time where I brought the cops home at 1 a.m. But other than that,
what the? I kind of remember it, but maybe
I was hanging out with a bus, which, you know, stories with police always.
Yeah, a bus will be on at some point. A bus will be on at some point. I had a lot of fucking questions for him.
Not as
the whole thing's gonna be depressing questions.
Yeah, we were playing poker, and then after the poker night, I was driving home. I was wanting to drive home, and I was in my car about to start my engine, and I see like this massive guy chasing down like a woman, and the woman jumps into her car and he starts pounding the door.
Fuck.
And then I was thinking, well, I was like, what? like maybe 18 or 19 then, still like skinnier, and I was like, can I help here? No, probably not.
Probably.
And then he looked at me, and then I was pretty scared, so like started the car.
Were you sober at this point as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't be driving drunk. Come on, man.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. I was just saying, like, if you were drinking, it doesn't matter how big you are.
If I was drunk, I would have taken it.
Yeah, how big are you, bro? Literally. Anyway, so
Did you look at me, huh?
Maybe that's a story for down the line. There's definitely some town stories of Lenny.
Yeah, okay, no, we don't have to bring those up. Anyways, and then I was like driving off, and then apparently I didn't notice it. A helicopter followed me because they thought
wild.
Someone was fleeing the scene, quote unquote, because someone would have called the cops, which is good. Really, in hindsight, I should have. I would now. I guess you learn from those things, right? And so I drove off, and
you would have called the cops, and fair,
I mean, if it was me now, instead of just leaving, you want to do something to help her out.
Yeah,
I know that if I go in there and be like, "Hey, man, stop!" like that wouldn't help.
But
anything.
it's fair also to have a panicked reaction to that situation. Yeah, I
especially
understand
when
that.
you're younger. It's fine. And then apparently that helicopter followed me all the way home, which was like maybe what was it, 2K or something, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And then I got home, got into bed, and then I hear this really loud knocking at the door, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, that's weird.
So wild.
And because I'm at the bottom, like the first to open up the door, basically. I like open it up, and it's a policeman. I'm like, hi, can I help? Then he's like, who lives here? And I'm like, it's not my house. It's like, I'm living with my friends. And he's like, yeah, who else lives here? And I'm like, and then your parents walk down, like in their bathrobe, just like woken up. They're like, what's going on?
I feel like
awkward.
I feel like no, but I do also feel like my parents are pretty chill about.
Oh, they were very chill. Yeah. But it's still awkward that
I can imagine that exact
home at 1 a.m.
Yeah, from your perspective, I can imagine it being pretty fucking crazy. But then also from my dad's perspective, I feel like he would have just come to me like, it's another problem to solve.
Well, because he's
welcome
been
to
living
life.
with you all this time. They're here again. Is it for Adam?
But no, like I just honestly, my dad is one of those people that I admire a lot, and it's because a lot of things don't faze him. He's like a very like level-headed person, super logical about everything. So like, and that's not to say that he doesn't have emotion, because he does have emotion, but it's more like his control over his emotion is like next level. It's super inspiring. Yeah. So like in that situation, knowing what went on, I would have been like, this is the same as you if I was in your position. 100% get it. But also my dad just coming down the stairs, I picture him being like, what are you doing on my property?
Why are you waking me up?
Exactly.
This better be urgent.
Exactly. Like, yeah, that is crazy to think about though.
Yeah, but other than that, living with you was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all I had to do was like squeegee the shower, and we were fine.
That's something that is ingrained into you at that household. Super weird, eh?
Yeah,
I do that to this day. And every partner I've had has been like, why are you doing that?
No, but it's funny because
like,
you didn't back then. Because I did it, and then they were like, oh, Adam, you didn't do it again. And now you're like the first to,
it's literally because I think like at that point, everyone kind of wants to rebel against their parents to some extent, right? But now when I'm trying to like get my life together, I just model my dad pretty much in like a lot of regards. And it's interesting, like the way he handles shit, he's like got some solid processes for shit, like you don't have to deep clean your shower once a month if you squeegee it every day. And it's just so like effortless. If you make it part of your like routine, it's just fine,
I get that, but then because like with our landlord, it comes to the point where it's like they were like, I have a towel there, and then every time squeegee it and then dry it with the towel, and I'm like, well, I might as well just deep clean it once a month then. Like otherwise, I'm putting that much work in every time.
I don't know if it's like me trying to avoid that. I really don't like cleaning. But I also, most people that know me would say that I have like a pretty tidy space. It's because I really focus on like the micro movements that I have to do to keep things clean enough that I don't have to do like deep cleaning shit.
Well, I'm lucky right now. I got a loving partner now that does.
Yeah, that
like
is
95%.
Not everyone has a Lou at home,
Yeah.
God bless her. God bless her soul.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, that would be nice.
But I would move back in. I would move back in.
You would?
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you might remember the old studio. That was where Len was living.
Yeah.
So I obviously did move back in, and I couldn't do it probably for as easily as Lynn.
Yeah, well, it's different.
It's different with your own parents for sure. But I do understand. Like it wasn't a bad setup by any means. It was really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it was still a weird time though, like hopping between places.
Yeah, feeling. Yeah, how does it feel? Because I guess you're probably used to that kind of to an extent when you come from another country, and every place you're staying kind of feels like you're not intruding, but like you're not.
You are still intruding because it's like
to an extent.
Yeah, because they still look after you. Because even when you're 18 or whatever, it's still.
Which is kind of like your issue with your third host parents.
Yeah.
I don't know if you really want to talk about that or not.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, they were like a bit too motherly, mainly.
Yeah, and I understand that, like, you don't... As much as that is the other option as a host parent, you either have, like, your set rules and they do whatever they want in their free time, or you trying to kind of treat them like part of the family, but then also you have a family that's overseas, which is another one of the depressing questions. It's like being away from your family for 5 years, like it must make you feel an interesting type of way when you come back, and then you come to New Zealand and then someone tries to like act like your parents.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Yeah,
there
which
was
I
some
understand.
Weird times, like I told them several times, please stop. But they I mean, I guess they just couldn't stop it, and then it's fine. I live there, it's their house, that's how I always go, like it's their rules. I follow them, but there was like some weird times, like for the ball, where like my host mom then was like, oh yeah, just be really really safe and sit close to the fire exit in case there's a fire, and I'm just there like, no, what? How likely is that? Like, why are you protecting me from an imaginary fire that's like never gonna happen?
Stay close to the fire exit. Such weird advice in general.
Know. Yeah, that was like at the particular point where I was like, okay, this is I want to.
I thought that was interesting as well. Like that Alan's parents. I'm sorry, shout out Alan, but Alan's parents wanted you to invite them to the thing, and that was like a point of content to the pre-ball, which was like a big thing.
It's a whole nother
shenanigan.
Yeah.
Maybe we don't have to get into that, but yeah, just interest, like them acting as your parents. I can understand you feeling a type of way about that.
Yeah.
But also on the other side of the spectrum, so much better than host parents too.
But people do that because before I ever went, I met a woman. I guess she must have been like 20 at that point, and now because I was younger, so she was a woman to me. And we met her to talk about like the whole process because she had done that whole homestay process. And she was like, and my mum was there too, and she was telling us, oh yeah, and basically I called them mom and dad as well, like the other parents. So she pretended, or like she treated it like she had two parents. And my mum after was like, don't you ever do that. Like, which is fair.
Well, it's kind of, I feel like that's almost Hilke's experience, no?
Yeah? Why?
Well, I feel like that's what she said. Like sorry.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Shout out Hilke, one of our other German friends
who also out people.
Yeah, but I do shout out Hilke. She one of our friends that we used to live next to actually at Lynn's old place. But anyways, besides that, same situation as Lenny. She moved to New Zealand and she had that exact experience where she like basically started treating the host parents like her or surrogate parents almost, I suppose.
But for me that just feels wrong. Like, I don't know.
I understand that. I feel like I couldn't just. I mean, to be fair, I probably would be more okay with like the notion of like, oh, you're my fake mom or whatever. But like, it's just it would never change in my head.
I just feel like I'm betraying my mom.
Interesting. Interesting.
I don't know. Maybe I have different views, but I can't do that. I thought that was weird.
Yeah, I call my mom Jay, so maybe that's part of it. You
call your mom Jay, but then the host mom you call mum?
Yeah, literally sometimes.
That would be weird.
It was like I had my hospo mom. I used to call her Mumsy.
Oh god, that's cringe.
Anyways, that's
Mumsy.
Yeah, it was good. I got like.
Was she into you?
No, I don't think so. I think it was like she was like at the age where she could have had me as a kid, and there was some weird bond about that. But it was great. I mean, I got extra breaks, so I'm really stoked about that. Extra smokos.
More breaks with Mumsy.
Maybe we just take a quick break here. I think top up our drinks, and the fridge is making some noises.
The fridge is making some noises. Yeah, I'm also feeling not that great in this t-shirt actually.
Not that great in that t-shirt? No. You wanna? Okay, all right.
I think I need to do one little thing.
What are you gonna?
I think I'm just gonna.
What are you? Oh, what's?
Do a little purchase on the old S.AD collection.
This was not planned.
It wasn't planned. You didn't know.
I honestly didn't know. I actually didn't know, but I can't help but feel like it's
You're just gonna sign that up, and you're gonna see me in the new T-shirt.
We can do that live. I think I actually have the stuff here to do the authenticity certificate live.
Email when it comes through.
Well, I do, but obviously
Would be cool.
we do have a separate camera. But
do I add the $1,000 delivery? That is interesting.
For those that don't
Maybe
know,
not that
you should
baller.
check out my website. But there is a special delivery option on there, so it's a little Easter egg.
I love how it's like pre-selected. So if you don't look on it, you're like accident.
That's not intentional.
No, I'm sure it's not. Alrighty, well, let's get it. Let's put it on.
Yeah. All right. You put it on. I'll. All right. We can do this all. I think. We can just keep it running. I think you just keep it running. We can use this as bloopers or whatever. And then wow, what a seamless cut. All right, I feel like Len's just disappeared for a second. Maybe he's
Had to get some
looking a little bit fresher. If I don't,
very fresh and very
oh my goodness, is
very,
that
very comfortable.
is that 100% cotton?
It feels like it.
Is that embroidered on the front? Oh my god! Wow,
Very pretty.
wow, S.AD collection, no joke.
That's more comfortable.
Anyways, sorry to get sidetracked. Tooting my own horn about my brand's quality because it is stellar.
That's nice. It fits nice. I like it.
That's good. Yeah, that's usually a good length on you. It's like that is my one.
I like it. I like it longer as well.
Yeah, you like it longer?
I don't.
That's good.
I
Nice.
don't like it like really tight anymore.
Yeah, I feel like it is kind of like a better fit. I like the thicker material. and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
and thick. Nice and
exactly. Like really like heavyweight warm. Anyways, that is enough of that. I think we have one more depressing question to cover, and then we can go into more sort of free talk stuff. So that last depressing question is, you have become a hardware store regular. Which I thought I would never say for either of us, to be fair, but
Yep.
for you, like maybe more. And I don't even know if you more than me, but probably the same.
Me more than you, I'd
Yeah?
say. I still think I have more of a handy nature than maybe I'm being mean now.
No. That's why I'm saying it's probably
Yeah.
more likely that you're in a hardware store than me. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I was grouping us together there, but yeah, no, I'm definitely very hands off on the hardware. That's not my strong suits.
Yeah, it's good for me because I'm building this ice bath and everything, and I have a builder that lives with me. So
Shout out, actually, well, we can shout out Hamish because
Absolutely.
HD builds. If
HD
anyone's,
builds.
he built this. He built a
this
wall.
Lots.
He built a wall like Trump.
Lots of my ice bath stuff. He helped me.
I'm not allowed to talk about him, so, so let's continue. No, we're not going to cut it out, but just a little wink to the MAGA supporters out there.
Yeah, but like.
Sorry, my executive producer is shaking her head
Not
again.
happy.
She's doing the really unimpressed look. I want to clarify wholeheartedly that I don't support Trump. Wholeheartedly say that. But now let's get back to the story about the hardware.
Seamless.
Natural.
Well, yeah, since I'm building the ice bath, I'm like in the hardware store basically every second day, just cruising around and talking to the guys that work there. Turns out the guys that work there don't really know much, so that I had to learn that. I didn't know that.
It's exactly like that that Community skit with Ron Swanson where he walks through the hardware store and he's wearing like some sort of Halloween costume. He's just like, some hardware store assistant comes up to him and he's like, "I know more than you." Please piss off.
Go away.
Literally. And it's crazy that your experience is you have to go to the hardware store twice before you know more than the stuff there.
I had to go more than twice. I had to go many times.
That's unfair to you.
And there's many reasons for that, because like I asked them because I don't know, or I didn't know. Now I'm learning slowly.
So from them a little bit, you think?
Huh?
From them a little bit as well, you think? Or,
It's mainly trying out, to be honest. Like they give you like a sort of overview, but they have taught me a couple of things that didn't work out in the end, and I had to return them. Which returning is fine. At least I'm not wasting money, just my time.
How much do you have to know about hardware to actually work in a hardware store? I'm sure it's not
that much, but and it's interesting because they have their own aisles, right? So you'd think the guy like I did a lot of plumbing for this.
They must be great at remembering stuff. For
surely they know a little bit about plumbing, you know.
Would you think? I would say they're just like really good at remembering like because like my experience of a hardware store is you go there and they have everything, and you ask anyone and they know what aisle it's in.
That's true. Yeah,
like that's
really
a skill in of itself. But like I feel like in terms of actually being able to build stuff, it's probably not a requirement on the job application.
True. But by now I've been there so often, I know every single store in Auckland that's a Bunnings or a Mitra 10, and I know where the things that I need are in those stores.
That's also true though. Probably every person that goes in there, because they have such a big list of things. Like it's just so niche what every project needs, right?
Yeah.
Like do you think how applicable is your knowledge if you wanted to build, I don't know, something else? Some of it, surely. Some of it,
a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I've done plumbing now. I sort of learn how to, get the right wood and cut it and put it together. Get the right nails, and then I don't know, paint wood, seal it, that sort of stuff.
That's like literally like that dad knowledge shit, you know?
Yeah, a little bit of it. Yeah.
Also, shout out Lou. You can see her in the mirror. You can catch her in the mirror. She's shaking her head. She definitely helped with the
painting.
The painting, yeah.
Painting and sealing. She's been really good.
Yeah, it looks mean. I think I'll put a picture up here so you can see what it looks like. And goddamn,
it's getting better and better.
It's very impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely getting there. There's a lot of things that I'm trying, and because that's also another reason why I go there a lot is because I'm changing one thing out, and then while I'm changing that out, something breaks, so then I have to go there again just to buy one part, and then come back and then put it all together again, and then while I'm doing that, I realize, oh, this is stupid. I need to change, another plumbing fitting or whatever.
Does that kind of worry you in the sense of like now how much stuff you've learned and how much stuff you've changed based on what you've learned, that in 10 months time you will have been like, oh man, everything I'm doing now is looking wrong? Or no, not so much.
No, I think, I've spent so much time that I think I've...
You just know it so well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that would be shit, because I'd have to buy a new barrel. Which, whatever, it's fine.
I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate. I feel like at this point, to be honest, you know more about ice baths than anyone should.
Yes.
Like, there is more mental toughness that Len's had to go through than just sitting in the ice.
Some of it has been harder than just going in, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a couple times where I'm like, I said on that weekend, yes, it's going to be done. All I need is like 2 parts and then, a tube or whatever, and then I'm done.
Yeah.
And then I put it together, and then, that the worst part was when my pump broke. So I had everything there. I just had to assemble it, and the pump is like one of the main parts that circulates the water through.
I was gonna say, pump doesn't sound small.
No, it's also like $220, which is like all right, but it's still not great.
And if we're talking about like, maybe for context, talk about like how like the whole ice bath's like worth like $4.5K or some shit, right? Or
yeah, I mean depends what version you would get. Let's just say 4K. Yeah.
Yeah, for like we're talking about like work and like the everything. Yeah, everything. But
everything
so like
put into it.
Relatively speaking, the pump is like not the biggest part, but still not an ideal part to fuck. And anything at this level, at this scale, is like not ideal.
Yeah, at least it was my chiller, which is like 1.4. So that would be a nightmare. If that breaks, then then we have a big setback.
Yeah.
But but that was like funny because the pump broke, and I didn't have that much money at that moment anyway. So I was like, all right, so I had a little panic, I guess, and I was like, well, I guess there's nothing really I can do, so I went upstairs and ordered another one, and then kept going, because, I mean, if I stop now, that would be, if I stop just for breaking a $200 pump, that would be a bit ridiculous, so...
It's like, to take a poker analogy, you're pot committed at this point.
Yeah.
You've invested, which makes sense to me 100%. I'm in the same boat. Like right now, if I needed another camera, I would just buy it. I've already gone so far down this rabbit hole. Like,
that's true.
If it doesn't work out now, like fuck it. At least I tried.
That's very.
It's kind of the point you reach, right? Like,
that's what we said earlier, huh? Like it would be sad if you hadn't tried and you would never know. So I'd rather and go into quote unquote debt and then.
I think that is really important to mention as well. Like, I don't want to be in my deathbed at 80 being like, I lived a real secure, safe life, and damn, this retirement village is nice.
My Kiwi saver is on, $500,000.
I'm not going to have to worry about the bare minimum for the rest of my life. Like, no, thank you. No, thank you. no, like hate to anyone that like that wants that, because like fair enough. It's a safer path, and the alternative of what we're talking about is a real shit outcome of our lives.
That's true. It's just what you want to do.
Yeah, it's what you want to do. But personally speaking, like I'd rather take that risk than take that regret.
Yeah, it's just the whole like you never know. It's sort of same like with relationships. You rather want to try than be
exactly.
There and, like, well, right now I'm like an accountant or whatever, and I earn a lot of money, but like I'm not happy, something like that. And then to never have tried for me is just.
Which I think kind of ties back well into what you were saying about like your job currently and stuff. Yeah, and I'm the same, man. Like for anyone out there, I love data analytics. Love it. It's a passion of mine. But like it's very obvious that I'm trying to take another path, and I think that it's because something in my soul is telling me that I have to try it. I can't be tied down to that reality that I've got currently for the rest of my life, and knowing that is a really powerful motivator as well, for sure.
But I think our generation, it saddens to say, but I think we're both Gen Z.
I think so, yeah.
Just at least for me, is we're most of us are, I think, or a lot of us at least, more than older generations, are sort of looking that way, that we are, like, even in the workforce, we would leave after 2 weeks if it was terrible. But back in the days, that would never be a thing. Like you wouldn't just go because you don't like it. Like after that,
I think part of it is because the future is less guaranteed, as well. Like I think
it changes so quickly.
Yeah, but more than that, like I think like if you go a couple generations back, the retirement plan would have been way more solid. Like healthcare would have all been included and shit like that. And now what we're talking is like slightly subsidized healthcare. And we're not even sure if we're going to get like a pension at the end of the day, so like it's like obviously we're taking more risks. It makes sense.
Yeah.
But aside from the obvious cultural shift, I feel like we would have probably done this anyway. Do you not feel? Yeah.
I think still culture has a big impact though.
Culture is a big impact, but I think that like the reason I'm doing what I'm doing is not because of like cultural shifts. It's because of my personal feeling about where I'm heading.
But I think it's because we've seen a lot of people online that have done that sort of stuff. Like imagine you're growing up without internet and you never see anyone building a business. Like my parents haven't, no one.
But your dad is kind of, hasn't he?
No, he works for a company. He just does well in the company.
Okay, he's like he's a
superstar.
Yeah,
which is fine too. But so in that way, if I hadn't seen people online doing like their own way and having success with it and being happier, then I don't know if I would have tried it. It'd be harder without someone.
Without a reference point, yeah, for sure. That would be way more. It's uncertain enough as it is.
Really. Yeah. Yeah, what is it like? I think like 5% succeed, isn't it? Like,
do you think that's still true? I hope it is. I hope it is like higher now.
Less. Higher?
I hope so.
It seems like it, because like I know people now that have done it. So 5%, like
for
how
me,
many?
it just feels
I don't know that many people that try.
Well, when you throw out that stat to me, that like if you go over 21 podcasts, you're in the top 1% of people posting podcasts.
Yeah.
That feels like it's crazy that more people haven't crossed that line, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's sort of like a semi-weak effort.
It's weak. Like I understand now doing it that there is like a lot of complexities to it, but still, like to go through. This is episode 9.
Yeah.
To go through 9 episodes and then to not do another 12. But like I get it to an extent, but also it's like, why would you stop here? This doesn't make any sense as a stopping point.
Maybe it includes a lot of people that have done one and realized this is shit, I hate this, and then they stop. That must be it, right?
But then the stat about 3 though, like why would you stop at 4? You persevere for the first 3, maybe. Yeah. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that I think about with this stuff.
Yeah,
now.
Maybe they realized like me with the music that it was just too much work and not actually that much fun.
And not everyone is meant to. I feel like not everyone has the skill or is meant to just talk for an hour at a time. Like it is like not the easiest thing to do sometimes.
True. Yeah.
I learned that the hard way when I tried to talk to myself for an hour. That was fucking not good. That was tough. That was tough.
Yeah, I'm thinking that.
And tough for the audience too. So thank you for sticking in there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was thinking that because I want to start one too. Like, like an ice hour podcast, matching the ice bath. But but I don't really know what I would want to do like the topic about or how I would structure it. Because I do want to pull it through, so I think I need to think more about how to actually do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to help you with that.
Having a set and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I do that?
Well, the good thing about like our group and stuff is we have the support network. Like,
That's true.
I couldn't do this shit without you coming on the podcast and be willing to talk to me for an hour, and also having like the natural talent to also talk for an hour as well. You could do a podcast by yourself. Not all of my friends could, but you could probably.
I would need a topic, but
But then also like having Hamish to help build the set, like a professional builder, like that is just the most top-notch, like valuable skill sets. And then I've got like so many friends that are just like really like they care about me, they want to help me out, and they also like have interesting shit to say. And that's why I feel like this is like such the perfect middle point of being like I want to talk to my want to talk to my friends, which would, I don't know, maybe seems like everyone would have that same thing, but for me it just made so much sense.
Well, I think it will be interesting because like let's say we all sort of, because it seems now like the last year everything's sort of picking up for everyone. If everyone sort of grows in their niche more, and then it gets more and more interesting, right? Like the more and more successful everyone in the group becomes, the more interesting the podcast will be. You know,
exactly. Even the previous value of it as well compounds, which is why I love this shit so much.
Oh, you mean like looking back? Or?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like where they were. Like think about that shit, man.
Yeah, I always.
We're talking about you starting your starting your ice bath now.
Yeah.
When your ice bath is like the biggest ice bath company in New Zealand.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm aiming for. So.
But how crazy is that to look back on that shit?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We took a photo today, and maybe I won't show it now, but I will show it if this is still going. And
no, just say on your socials, so they check out the socials.
I'm not gonna post it. I'm saying.
Oh, you're not gonna post it?
No, I'm saying in 100 episodes of this is still going strong, I will do a flashback photo of like a photo that we took from the first day of the set today, with some of the core people that I've had on thus far.
You better write down a memory because you're gonna forget that one. At least I would.
Well, if this takes off, then someone in the family
someone's gonna remember. Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't have to worry about it. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
But also, I got
in episode 9. You were saying this picture. Where is it? We need it.
Yeah, where is this picture? I got my trusty producer as well. She's on that shit. Write that down, Trin. No, I love her. I couldn't do this shit without her. So I honestly, big shout out. But yeah, so you're a frequent hardwest.
Yeah, I've done them now. You know, like I don't have to go back anymore that much. I keep saying that though. To be fair, I said that 2 weeks ago, and then I keep coming back. But now I'm literally on the very last brink of having all the things together.
That's so exciting, bro. It is.
Yeah,
it is so exciting.
So really, next weekend it should be fully set. I mean, it all works and runs now. I'm just trying to make it the nicest possible. So like, for example, for the lid, I want to have magnets, so it's like a nicer touch. Like it's like, you know, when you open up an iPhone case. Yeah. Like when it comes, it's like that nice feeling of like, although you know you throw it away. Oh, actually, a lot of people store those. Maybe that's a sign that it's really nice. You know, like it's nice to just like lift it up and it has some magnet weight to it. Like
the kind of boxes that I have are all Apple. Like, they just so they are. It feels like maybe you should put it back in there almost.
Yeah,
it's like so good.
Next to you,
literally,
you charge it in it.
You keep it like you should put it back in there because it's so perfectly fit. But like, realistically, you never would.
Yeah, but that's true. A lot of people do that just with Apple boxes because
they're just really nice. Yeah, 100%. They're just like really high quality.
Copy a lot of things they've done. I think
they've done a lot of good things in their time. Listening to no shit, but like listening to Steve Jobs's talks, I've like been so inspired by some of the stuff he's come up with. Yeah, literally, even like if you look at like,
well, he doesnn't come up with it.
True.
He just gets people to come up with it.
Well,
that's like saying,
no, I feel like
you built this wall.
no, but that is the truth though. Like I didn't build the wall, but I did come up with the idea for the wall.
I guess
I planned out where
it
was going to go.
Yeah,
and then like that's sort of exactly what Steve Jobs did. No.
Yeah,
literally.
But I still think people give him too much credit.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, yeah, it's like he got all the people together, but people are like saying he invented the iPhone or whatever, and it was definitely some guy who's got no credit for it. you know.
Yeah, I
It
do.
still needs him. 'Cause he's the driving force.
I resent the fact that people don't recognize the support people as much as him.
Yeah, that's all I'm.
But
trying
I
to say,
also
really.
understand that you can't remember 100 people's names versus one. And if it takes a Steve Jobs to create the iPhone, then I think it's a net positive.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I would look at it. And you know, it's not nothing to inspire that many people to work on a project.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a bunch of people that have the skills to build a computer, but not 100 people that have built Apple.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So take LSD and build computers. That's what that is the takeaway. Yeah, maybe computers isn't it. Maybe you should start what you're probably too late for AI as well. I don't really know what you can do. You're fucked.
No, there's definitely going to be something new.
There'll be something in AI for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I think that is the scare. We talk about this in every podcast, though. I acknowledge it, but it is just, I want people to know that I was watching that shit and it fucking looks crazy. You know,
It helps me out a lot now.
Yeah.
Like even
Using it a lot?
not a lot, but like let's say I'm doing an Instagram post or something and I don't really know what to say. I sort of just know roughly, hey, I want to talk about the health benefits of ice baths. I type
that post written by
all of them.
Really?
Yeah, I hope that's not bad. I try to write them, and I'm
I don't
just
think
not
I
a good
don't think it's
copywriter.
bad. I think it's just like inspiring. Almost
Yeah,
like.
I still go through it, and then I'm like, okay, I wouldn't say this or whatever, or like, especially the emojis are pretty bad.
Really, they use emojis.
I changed those. Yeah. Because I say write an Instagram post, pictures, like, and then I say in the picture you can see this and that. Please talk about the health benefits of ice baths, and then it writes it fully out, and then I go through it for like 10 seconds. I'm like, this out, this gone, and then
Is this 3.5?
I don't know. I didn't pay for it, so
So yeah, 3.5.
must be,
Interesting.
right? Yeah.
Ant's using 4.0, and apparently it's
Yeah, a lot
fucking
better.
cracked, like
Yeah.
comparatively. And when they have API capabilities, it's just going to be.
Oh, but did you read that post and
No,
did
what
not
was
notice?
this?
So, like,
No, I noticed. I thought that it didn't sound like AI to me.
Yeah.
But it did sound like
me.
You had spent like a long time looking at it. Like,
Yeah.
From my perspective, that's like what because
Yeah.
it didn't feel like, oh, this is like Len typed this out
Yeah.
with no effort.
Yeah.
know? So it
Well-
felt like you, but it felt like you had put like hours into it.
Yeah, it would have been hours. That's why, like, yeah, it really would have been. Because I
Yeah.
tried typing it out in the beginning, and then I was like, I read through it, and I was like, this is not that good. Let's see what
GPT
it
changes.
comes out with. And it was-
Interesting. That's
It was
interesting.
10 seconds. I was like, yeah, that's a lot better.
I also wonder as well because I know you a lot.
Yeah,
Like, so
that's
I
true.
know how you would write normally.
Yeah.
So like the fact that it still felt like you is probably a good sign that you put enough of yourself into it.
Maybe. Yeah, well, I wouldn't use that for, like, my own personal channels or whatever, but I think for my brand, it's fine. Because
Yeah, 100%.
I don't, like, for my brand, I don't want it to be me anyways. I want it to be its own company at some point, where it's just, like, me talking about it, and that's how it grows.
Yeah.
But I sort of would like that to be separate a little bit. So in that way, I think it's fine.
Well, the way I've tried to do it is I'm trying to like blend myself and my brand almost like intertwined. But what I found from using ChatGPT, and I've tried a few times, is that I feel like I'm still doing better solo than
Nice.
with the stuff that could be put out by it. But eventually it will get to a point where I can train it on the shit that I've already put out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when it will be like next.
Oh, yeah, I
next
guess you
level.
could copy paste your old ones and then say, write something like this in this style.
Exactly, yeah. Which is where it becomes like so crazy valuable. Anyways, we talk about fucking every episode. I think we should take a quick break and maybe a quick dip in an ice bath.
Let's dip it.
Let's see.
This sucks. 240. Oh my god. I mean, I love Southern Amarok. It's the best company in the world. Count me down.
57, 58, 59, 3 minutes.
Okay. Honestly, not that bad. And less cold. I'll have a little chat. So, thanks for checking in, guys. As you can see, we've done the ice bath, and I just want to... Or doing it currently. Currently doing it. It sucks. It really sucks. But in a really fulfilling way, I hope in 20 minutes or so.
What do you mean? I have to stay 20 minutes?
No. But yes, I just want to take this time to plug everything. So please check out our two main sponsors now. We have Southern Amarok, the providers of this beautiful beast here, and S.AD Collection. So that's www.sadcollection.com or
www.southern-amarok.co.nz.
And on socials,
just Southern Amarok.
Southern Amarok, and for S.AD Collection, that's S.AD.collection on all platforms. Feel free to check out also our clips for S.AD Ventures. So that's on S.AD.ventures.
You want to make this as long as possible, don't you?
I got a minute 15 then. Just a little outro. I want to shout out my mom. I want to thank my family for getting me to this moment. And yeah, just really embracing life right now, you know. This like all jokes aside, this bath is a true test of, I think, willpower. And it's no small feat that Lenny's now been in there for 1 minute 44 seconds, and he probably has to do 301 to
just beat you.
To beat me. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks for checking in, guys. See you next week.
See you guys.